This film has a sadder scene than The Lion King. I stand by that, and yes, I said it, so go hate, whatever. So today I'm going to be talking about Brother Bear. So this is a film that I watched after my own brother from another mother told me not to watch it. So I obviously naturally did watch it. And yeah, it was my start into animation. So this story starts off with Kenai and his two brothers just doing stuff. And then it's shown to us that Kenai's going to have his manhood ceremony, which is where the spirits basically bring down this totem. And the shaman woman called Tanana is going to give him the totem. And that's basically going to say how he should live his life to become a man. So they go and get salmon. Kenai ties it up, but it falls down. He sees it and he's just like, yeah, whatever, and he just leaves it. And then they go and have the ceremony and stuff. And then while they're gone, a bear comes and takes the salmon. Everyone gets annoyed at Kenai. Kenai goes and tries to get revenge on the bear. Stuff happens that I don't really want to spoil, but basically it ends up that Kenai kills the bear. Then, because of that, the spirits kind of get annoyed at him and stuff and then turn him into a bear because they want him to, like, learn a lesson and stuff. But then Denahi comes and he sees the bear and he thinks that the bear killed Kenai, so that's why Kenai's not there anymore. So then Denahi goes after that bear, who's actually Kenai, and Kenai also goes on his own quest to where the lights touch the mountain because that's where Tinana said that he'd be able to go to get transformed into a human again. And on the way, he meets up with a cub who knows exactly where this place is, where the lights touch the mountain. So he goes along with him and yeah, they go on a little adventure to basically go to where the lights touch the mountain, which is next to a salmon run, which is where Coda, who's the little cub, actually wants to go. So I actually really enjoyed this movie. I personally think that they did a good job with the pacing. There wasn't any unnecessary scenes or anything. There were some scenes that could be taken out, but I actually found those scenes funny, even though not everyone does find them funny. So I was fine with all the scenes in the movie. There wasn't like any scenes where I was just sitting there looking at my watch or just wanting to skip forward or anything. And I feel like each scene kind of adds something to the film, even if it is just comic relief from an event that just happened beforehand that might have been a bit sad or something like that. And I do find it really clever how they did the whole Denahi thing as to making him the villain in the movie, even though he wasn't exactly a villain. He just misunderstood the fact that Kenai was actually the bear. But there isn't an actual like evil person who just wants to go after the character's kind of villain. And there's a big realization that happens about 3/4 of the way into the film. So I might just be like not good at thinking this sort of stuff up, but I didn't realize it. But when I've looked at reviews, pretty much everyone realized it. It's kind of like the whole what was the last review I did? Whatever the last review was, basically there was a similar sort of realization, and I didn't get it. Loads of other people got it, so I might just be really slow. I don't know, but yeah. But yeah, I think what happens after this realization is sadder than The Lion King because the things that happens later on in the film, you get to know the characters, and it's just when Kenai and Coda kind of get to the peak of their relationship. They work really well together, and they're really happy together and stuff like that. And this kind of comes in the middle, so for me, that was kind of sadder. And I feel like the whole misunderstanding thing with Denahi kind of makes the climax that much more exciting because it's not the kind of climax where you just want the protagonist to defeat the antagonist. You kind of don't want either of them to defeat each other. You're kind of rooting for both of them. So you just kind of want them to stop, but you know why they're doing it. And I think that makes it ever the more tense because you're not just wanting one person to not get hurt. You're wanting both of them to get hurt. And there's also a funeral scene within this film that I feel is really well done. So I'm not going to go into specifics or anything, but instead of how I see lots of films doing it where they basically have this speech and stuff like that and then they kind of send the body off and like that, instead this happens on top of the score, which is actually a really nice score and I think it's really fitting and portrays the emotion and it gives the right sort of moods without the need for speaking. I did really, really like this story, and for me, watching it personally, I didn't really see much negatives to it. I was fine with pretty much everything in it, but after watching some other people and what they have to say, there were some things that I did agree with when I thought about it a bit more. So there's the ending. And really the big thing with this is Denahi's reaction to it, I feel. There was something that happened at the end, and again, I don't want to spoil it, but it was all kind of too quick, and he was too kind of happy about the ending, I feel, which may be a bit unbelievable for some people. I say unbelievable like a big unbelievable explosion or something, but I mean like it's not really that believable kind of thing, like it wouldn't happen in real life kind of thing. And what comes up in literally every single review I've seen, anytime this film's mentioned basically, is the decision for Phil Collins to sing over Kenai speaking to Coda in a certain scene. That's the one that's more emotional than the Lion King scene, or at least that's what I think anyway. So when I just watched this before seeing reviews or anything like that, I was totally fine with it. I mean, I was kind of curious as to what they said. There is actually a version within the bonus part of the CD, of the DVD, sorry, where it does show the scene basically without the singing on top of it. And you can also find it on YouTube too if you're curious to see it. But yeah, I didn't really mind it, but I do see why people get annoyed. But yeah, at first I was torn about it, I think. I did think that it might be a bit too heavy to put in the film, because people basically want to finish the film and get to the end of it and not kind of break down at that point. That's the thing, like, I think they still could have put it in, and the thing is, there was lots of things that were said within that part that weren't said throughout the entirety of the movie, other than in that part. So there's lots of things that the audience who wouldn't watch the bonus would miss out on. I do kind of agree, they should have maybe had the song after that bit. And moving on to characters, while there were quite a lot of characters in this film, there were only really 4 main ones. Those are Sitka, Denahi, Kenai, as well as Coda. So Kenai, who's voiced by Jenkin Phoenix, his character is quite unforgiving, not caring, and he's quite negative all the time. So again, lots of people picked up on this and said that this was a bad thing. I didn't mind it personally, because this basically emphasized the transformation that happened to him. It's not really spoilers as such. He turned from being really negative and stuff like that to being really caring and stuff towards the end. Yeah, I kind of liked it to see that transformation in him as a person. And then there's Denahi, who was voiced by Jason Vays, and as well as Harold Gold for the old Denahi right at the beginning. So he's one of those kinds of people that can be immature at times, but he can also be mature when he needs to be mature. So he's got that kind of character. And he basically just loves making fun of Kenai and telling him off. So he is kind of quite a fun character. And he's the one that thinks that Kenai, the bear, is the bear that kills Kenai. So he's the one that goes after Kenai. So we get to see that side of him too. And then there's Sitka, who's voiced by D.B. Sweeney. He doesn't change much, but he has a reason for that. So that's totally fine with me. But he's basically caring and really mature, and he's really clever. And then there's Coda, who's voiced by Jeremy Suarez. And he's an adorable little cub. He's really playful and really annoying, as any 8-year-old would be at times. He's really caring, and he probably has the funniest way of waking up that I've ever seen in a film. Although there was also Anna, who had a really funny way of waking up too.
Princess Anna?
Yeah?
Sorry to wake you.
And also a fun fact that I noticed, Coda comes in at literally exactly 30 minutes in. I don't know if this was intentional, and it probably doesn't even matter, but I just noticed it. And then there's the comic relief. There's Rut, who's voiced by Rick Moranis, and there's Took, who's voiced by Dave Thomas. So I've got a really different sense of humour to everyone else, but for me, these characters were really, really funny, and they were like one of my favourite comic reliefs. Although I do appreciate that I've got a totally weird sense of humour. And I do think that they bring them in good times when there's maybe a tense scene or a sad scene or something like that to kind of lighten up the mood a bit. And as for the other characters, overall there weren't any characters that annoyed me or anything. I think all the characters had their place in the film too, so there isn't really any I'd take out. And obviously my favourite character is going to be Coda, because he's just really, really cute. And Coda's totally going to be my pet's name in the future, just saying. And then come the visuals, so I could go on and on about the visuals. Aaron Blaise is the director of this film, and here's somebody that, I mean, I don't do animation myself, like, I don't actually draw anything, but here's somebody that I really kind of, I just love his work. I think, personally, the film looked stunning. I love the background a lot. Jang Young Ji, he did a really, really great job with the backgrounds. He does really great background, so this film isn't any exception with that. And yeah, if you know Aaron Blaise, you'd know that he puts loads of work into his animation. He makes animals look really lifelike, because that's kind of what he specialises in, is animal drawings. So the bears look really, really great. They're really well animated. How they walk looks really realistic. And visually, there's 2 scenes within the welcome sequence that comes when basically they get to the salmon run. And yeah, I love these 2 scenes visually. You see all of these bears like all over the place, and the thing is that they're all doing something. So literally every time I've watched the movie, I look at a different bear and it's doing something different, and I just love those scenes because they put so much work into it because every bear is doing something, even the ones right in the back that just viewing it the first time you're not going to look at. And it's not just those scenes too, the backgrounds have quite a few details in them that you wouldn't notice the first time watching it. And yeah, I do think the CGI fits in really well with this film. I didn't really notice any difference between it the first time watching, although if you do look out for it, you will probably see it. And a big thing that this film did is switching from 16:9 to 21:9, basically after Kenai was transformed into a bear. And this is to show the difference in perspective between him as a human and him as a bear. His view widens and he starts seeing more colours. I guess that's just bear vision. So yeah, that was definitely really unique. I haven't seen that in any other movie, so I do kind of like that choice. Although the first time I watched it on iTunes, I didn't realise this, so I did end up zooming in, and then I was wondering why some of the bits were cut off at the edge, basically after he turned into a bear, but it's because I was zoomed in and stuff, yeah. And yeah, I think the audio is just as good as the visual, so the voice acting I feel was really good. Even though they may not have sounded Native American as such, I still feel like they fit well. They didn't stick out like a sore thumb or anything like that. And I especially really liked Coda's performance, or more specifically Jeremy Suarez's performance.
I've lost worse than this before. Last summer, I was digging for roots with Bucky, and then we
Enough
got...
with the stories. I don't care about the time you and Binky found, the world's biggest pine cone ever.
First of all, his name's Bucky, not Binky. Second, it wasn't a pine cone, it was a pine nut. And it was huge, even bigger than your fat head.
He did a really good job with Coda. He gave him a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, and I just really liked his performance especially. And the score was outstanding. I really love Mark Mancina's work. He also did Moana and he did Tarzan. He did the scores for those. And I really like those scores too, so yeah, there was loads of emotion in them, they were really fitting. And I personally love Phil Collins' music. This film is actually what made me start listening to Phil Collins. I didn't know anything about him basically beforehand. And obviously I liked his music within this film too. Look Through My Eyes, which is the song that plays through the credits at the end, is probably my favourite one, but I also like No Way Out too. So overall, I really loved the audio for this film. This was a really hard film to review. Even just recording it now, I'm on like 29-ish minutes because I keep messing stuff up and changing stuff. It's hard not to let my bias take over because this was kind of the movie that started it all for me. And I just really like the movie too, just me as a person, I just really like the movie because it relates to me, and it also, I just really like the art in it, I like the visuals, I like the audio. So yeah, for me, this is kind of the right movie for me, but I see obviously that it's not the right for lots of people, so I was wanting to make sure everything was right. And there's also the fact that I really like Aaron's work too, so there's kind of that bias too. But yeah, I think it can go without saying that this is a really heartwarming story, and I really do like the characters. As I said before, the background as well as the animation are top notch, and lots of other parts of it are great too. I do love the lessons that this film tries to pass along, and I also like the fact that there was no evil antagonist, but there was just lots of understandings that kind of led to an antagonist. And there was also a few negatives that you may or may not mind, but they were out there. So I'm actually going to give this film a 9 out of 10. So this is actually my personal favourite film, although, as I said, there were negatives, and I'm trying to be unbiased about this, so yeah, The Incredible did beat it out. The Incredibles is a great movie. I feel like this film got around 90% of its stuff right. I feel like it got most of the things right, but it's that other 10% that really let it down for lots of people, and I do see their point of view, and I do really understand what they're saying, because it does take away from the believability of the story a lot. But anyway, I'm going to stop rambling now. What did you think? Be sure to leave your comments down below in the description. No, you don't leave in the description. Be sure to leave your comments down below in the comment section. Be sure to subscribe if you like this video, and you want to see other animated related videos as well as more movie reviews. So yeah, hope you all have a great day. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.
Sure your mom didn't ditch you, Coda?